You are a master-level script modeler, known for your ability to transform an original story into a new context with absolute precision. Your task is to rewrite the provided script to Turkish while adapting every relevant detail, character names, locations, companies, brands, to fit the model title while keeping everything else identical in scope, tone, and structure. There is zero margin for deviation in length. Your version must match the original script's word count within plus or minus 100 words. And no exceptions. Your task: rewrite the script in full, replacing key elements to make it fit naturally within the new cultural or contextual framework. Every detail must feel organic, as if the story was originally written for this new setting. The story flow, pacing, and impact must remain unchanged. If a scene was thrilling, your version is equally thrilling. If it was emotional, your version carries the same weight. The language must be impeccable, cinematic, and fluid, as if the best screenwriter in the world had adapted it. Absolute rules. Failure is not an option. The output must be the exact same length as the original script, plus or minus 100 words. This is non-negotiable. O3 Mini has a 100K token output capacity, so you will generate the full-length version without summarization. That if the original is long, your response will be just as long. If the original was detailed, yours will be equally detailed. There is no excuse for missing sections, skipping paragraphs, or condensing information. Only send the voiceover text that no extra commentary, explanations, headers, formatting, or notes that do not add model script or any introduction. Just the raw script, formatted exactly as the original. Send only the voiceover script. The adaptation must be seamless. Every reference to a person, company, location, or cultural element must be transformed flawlessly into its corresponding counterpart. Example: if the original references Elon Musk and Tesla, but the model title is for a Portuguese audience, it should become Luciano Hang in Heaven, and similarly, all references to Tesla must be rewritten as Heaven. The new version should feel like it was always meant to exist in this form. Original title: 7 Infallible Secrets to keep your home organized and clean. And no one tells you. Modele title: Ujeri kososos sella evinese dusan live temistuton, kimsenin sorlemedi. Original script: do you ever find yourself standing in the middle of your home, surrounded by chaos, feeling that overwhelming wave of defeat wash over you? That moment when you look around and wonder how things got this out of control. Again, I know that feeling, that knot in your stomach when unexpected guests are coming over, and you're frantically shoving things into closets, wondering why you can't seem to maintain order like other people do. But what if I told you that the real problem isn't your lack of discipline or time management? What if everything you've been taught about home organization was working against your brain's natural patterns? 3 years ago, I was drowning in chaos just like you might be right now, working 60-hour weeks, raising 2 young kids, and living in a home that felt more like a constant reminder of my failures than a place of peace. That was until I discovered something that changed everything. And I mean everything. Today, I'm going to share the 7 psychological secrets that not only transformed my home but revolutionized my entire approach to living. These aren't your typical buy more storage containers or wake up earlier tips. No, these are the hidden principles that even professional organizers don't talk about because most of them don't even know they exist. And here's the thing. I've never shared the last secret before. It's the missing piece that finally helped me maintain a clean home without feeling like I'm constantly fighting an uphill battle. It's the difference between temporary organization and lasting transformation. Before we continue, if you enjoy practical solutions for a more organized and peaceful home, make sure to click that subscribe button. This is the best way for you to support our work. Thank you very much, and let's continue. Let's start with something that might surprise you: the 80-20 zone system. Have you ever noticed how 80% of your daily mess seems to accumulate in just 20% of your space? This isn't a coincidence. It's an actual pattern that occurs in every home, regardless of size or family composition. Think about it: your kitchen counter near the coffee maker, that chair in your bedroom where clothes somehow multiply, the entryway table that collects everything from keys to unopened mail. The breakthrough comes when you stop fighting against this natural pattern and start working with it. Instead of trying to maintain perfect order throughout your entire home, you need to identify and optimize these high-traffic zones. Let me show you exactly how this works in practice today in my home. I noticed that most of our daily chaos centered around 3 specific areas. the kitchen island, the entryway console, and the primary bathroom vanity. These spaces were like magnetic fields for clutter. But instead of getting frustrated, I started studying the patterns. Why did things accumulate there? What was the underlying behavior causing it? This led me to create what I call microsystems. Small, intuitive organizational setups that work with your natural habits instead of against them. For example, if mail always ends up on your kitchen counter, don't fight it by trying to create a filing system in your home office. Instead, create a simple 3-tier sorting system right where the mail naturally lands. One folder for immediate action items, one for bills, and one for things to file away later. The key is to make these systems so intuitive that using them requires less energy than not using them. This brings us to our second secret, emotional anchoring. This is where most organization methods completely miss the mark. They focus on the physical aspects of organization while ignoring the emotional and psychological components that drive our behaviors. Every space in your home carries an emotional weight. When you walk into a cluttered room, you're not just seeing physical objects. You're experiencing a complex web of emotions, memories, and associations. This is why traditional organizing methods often fail. They treat clutter as a purely physical problem when it's actually an emotional one. Let me share a personal example. My home office used to be a constant source of stress. Every time I walked in, I felt overwhelmed by unfinished projects, unanswered emails, and endless to-do lists. The physical clutter was a manifestation of mental clutter. Understanding this connection was crucial for creating lasting change. That I started by identifying the emotional triggers in each space. What feelings came up when I entered different rooms? Where did I feel most peaceful, most stressed, most productive? Then, I began to intentionally design each space to evoke the emotions I wanted to experience there. In my office. This meant creating what I call a success corner. A small area dedicated to achievements, goals, and positive reminders. This might sound simple, but it fundamentally changed how I felt in that space. Instead of being overwhelmed by what needed to be done, I was inspired by what I had already accomplished. This brings us to our third secret, the decision elimination method. Did you know that the average person makes over 35,000 decisions every day? And here's the kicker. Every single object in your home requires multiple micro-decisions. Should I put this away now or later? Where does this belong? Do I still need this? When you multiply these decisions by every item in your home, it's no wonder we feel mentally exhausted. The solution isn't to become better at making decisions. It's to eliminate the need for decisions altogether. This is where the concept of decision architecture comes in. The goal is to create systems so intuitive that they become automatic, requiring zero conscious decision-making. Let's take something as simple as doing laundry. In a typical home, doing laundry involves countless decisions. When should I start? Where do these items go? How should I sort them? What settings should I use? But with proper decision architecture, these choices disappear. I created what I call the laundry timeline, a system that completely eliminates decision fatigue. Dirty clothes go directly into pre-sorted hampers. Each hamper has a designated day of the week. The washing instructions are printed on cards attached to each hamper. No decisions needed. Just follow the system. This leads us to our fourth secret, flow state spaces. Have you ever noticed how some spaces just feel right? How you can move through them effortlessly, almost like dancing. That's what we call a flow state, and it's not just for athletes or artists. It's crucial for home organization. The key to creating flow state spaces is understanding your natural movement patterns. Start by observing how you naturally move through your home. Where do you pass? Where do you tend to set things down? Where do bottlenecks occur? These patterns are your body's way of telling you what works and what doesn't. In my kitchen, I noticed that I always gravitated toward the same counter space when preparing meals. Fighting against this natural tendency was futile. Instead, I redesigned the entire kitchen around this workflow. Frequently used items were placed within arm's reach of this spot. Less used items were stored further away. The result? Cooking became effortless and cleanup became automatic. But flow states aren't just about physical movement. They're about mental and emotional flow as well. This is where our fifth secret comes in, the 2-minute reset ritual. This technique is based on cutting-edge research in habit formation and cognitive psychology. The premise is simple but powerful. Every space in your home needs a reset point, a clearly defined state that can be achieved in 2 minutes or less. This isn't about perfect organization. It's about creating a baseline that prevents chaos from accumulating. For example, in my living room, the reset point includes cushions straightened, throws folded, remote controls in their designated spot, and surfaces clear of cups or plates. Nothing complex or time-consuming, just the essential elements that make the space feel ordered. The magic of the 2-minute reset is that it works with your brain's natural reward system. When you can quickly return a space to its baseline state, you experience an immediate sense of accomplishment. This positive reinforcement makes you more likely to maintain the system over time. This brings us to our sixth secret, the visibility principle. Have you ever noticed how you never forget to brush your teeth? That's because the visual cue of seeing your toothbrush by the sink triggers an automatic response. The same principle can be applied to home organization. The key is to make organization systems visible without making them visually overwhelming. Everything needs a clear, visible home, but that home needs to be aesthetically pleasing. This is where most people go wrong. They either hide everything away, out of sight, out of mind, or leave everything out, creating visual chaos. That I developed what I call visible anchors, strategic placement of organizational systems that serve as both functional tools and visual reminders. For example, in my entryway, I installed a beautiful wooden key holder with designated spots for each family member. It's decorative enough to enhance the space but functional enough to eliminate the "where are my keys?" morning panic. The same principle applies to every room. In the kitchen, frequently used utensils are stored in attractive containers on the counter. In the bathroom, daily items are arranged in clear containers that look intentional rather than cluttered. Everything has a visible home that makes sense both functionally and aesthetically. And now, for the secret I've never shared before, the one that finally made everything click: the maintenance matrix. This is the system that transformed my approach from getting organized to staying organized permanently. The maintenance matrix is based on the understanding that organization isn't a destination. It's a dynamic system that needs to adapt and evolve with your life. It's built on 3 core principles: routine, response, and reset. Routine maintenance includes your daily and weekly tasks, the basic activities that keep your home functioning. But instead of creating rigid schedules that feel overwhelming, the matrix helps you identify your natural rhythms and build around them. Response maintenance deals with unexpected changes and challenges. Life is unpredictable. Guests drop by, kids get sick, work gets crazy. The matrix includes built-in flexibility to handle these disruptions without derailing your entire system. Reset maintenance is your quarterly check-in, where you evaluate what's working and what needs to be adjusted. This is crucial because your needs and circumstances change over time. A system that worked perfectly 6 months ago might need tweaking now. Let me give you a concrete example of how the maintenance matrix works. In my home, I noticed that our organization systems would often break down during busy weekdays. Instead of fighting against this pattern, I built it into the matrix. Weekdays focus on basic maintenance only, the essential tasks that keep things functioning. Weekends are for deeper resets and system adjustments. But here's the real game changer. The matrix includes what I call buffer zones, designated spaces and times that absorb chaos without disrupting the entire system. Think of it like shock absorbers on a car. They don't prevent bumps, but they make them manageable. Remember that overwhelming feeling we talked about at the beginning? That sense of defeat when looking at a chaotic home? That feeling isn't your fault. The problem wasn't your lack of effort or discipline. It was that you were working with incomplete information. Now you have the complete picture. The 7 psychological secrets that transform how you approach home organization. But don't try to implement everything at once. Start with the 80-20 zone system. Identify your high-traffic areas and create one microsystem. Give it a week, and I promise you'll start seeing changes you never thought possible. Your home isn't just a collection of rooms and objects. It's the foundation of your life. It's where memories are made, where dreams are nurtured, and where you should feel most at peace. You deserve to have a space that supports and uplifts you, not one that constantly reminds you of what's not working. Take that first step today. Start small, but start somewhere. The number, organization isn't about perfection. It's about creating systems that work with your lives, not against it. And when you get that right, everything else falls into place. If this video helped you see home organization in a new light, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical solutions that actually work. Together, we can transform your home from a source of stress into a sanctuary of peace and possibility. Now, execute this adaptation perfectly.